I believe the collaboration that we need the most is not in the art world, but in real life, in our communities and in our cities. The question of collaboration within art is not necessarily a new one. If Duchamp famously said that the viewer completes the work, meaning that an artwork that does not have a viewer is not fully an artwork, or is not finished, then collaboration is as essential to art as it always has been. But at this point in time and in history, I believe the collaboration that we need the most is not in the art world, but in real life, in our communities and in our cities. In the United States, following the COVID pandemic, the government has chosen to bail out corporations and big businesses, but the countless individuals who have lost their jobs have been without continued support. People who have been severely sick with COVID are left with hospital bills in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. People who are without income are now lining up for food banks to receive any assistance from volunteers. There is little help from the government, and too many people have been misled to think that government help is socialism, and that there is something inherently wrong or dubious about distributing resources in a way that supports those who are most in need. The collaboration that feels most relevant and urgent to me today, speaking from my location in the United States, is mutual aid that lifts up others and promotes sharing. Throughout the United States, thousands of people have formed mutual aid groups. Often they bring food to at-risk people in their communities or homes and help those who cannot afford to buy food. Throughout many major cities like New York, Boston, Chicago, or Los Angeles, people have also set up refrigerators on the street so that those who have food can leave it and those who need it can take it. In some places, entire cafes or corner stores in urban areas have become active food shelves. Artists and art workers who have lost work or who are income insecure have organized fundraisers for one another, but also to support the movement for Black lives and other marginalized people, and to support organizations working toward abolition and police reform. These are urgent issues in the United States today. Beyond the US, artists have organized mutual aid to help with major crises, such as the mass explosion in Beirut, or in labor battles, such as the strike by workers at the Tate Museums. We are in a moment of incredible political energy and mutual support, and this is the collaboration that is most relevant and I believe most needed right now. Personally, I am not in favor of art becoming any more digital or immaterial. Digital art and internet-based art has always had a specific history and reason for existing, and I believe that there is rich potential for entertainment in visual culture, whether it lives on TikTok or Instagram or other forms of social media. But I'm not interested in the increased digitization of art and art experiences any more than I would favor increased digitization of human experiences. Yes, it's a privilege to have the technology, but given the choice, would you want to always have video calls with your friends and family? Or do you want to share a space together, walk and talk in person, and eat a meal together? I think the best strategy to face this change toward digitization of art experiences is to resist it. I would encourage everyone to think about the work of visual art that has had the greatest impact on them. Would you have been able to have that same impactful and memorable experience in a digital form? Could that artwork do the same thing on a screen? Probably not. And even less likely now that we spend more time than ever with our screens. We cannot walk around a space, we cannot encounter the surface and materiality of a sculpture, and we can't be immersed in the rumbling sound of a video installation or see the way light illuminates a painting differently as we move in relation to it. We can't share live space with live performers. Our screens are made to do many things for us, but I don't believe they can serve as surrogates or hosts of art experiences any more than they already do through photo documentation. At the same time, I think a shift to digital and online education, or distance learning as it's been called in the United States, offers exciting potential for democratizing art education and making it more accessible to all people. While I do think there is value in having students gathered around a seminar table, for example, and I believe nothing can replace the experience of studio space and community that an art school can offer, we have a serious problem in the United States of privatized education system that leaves many art school graduates in incredible debt. Students who earn a 2-year MFA degree at an elite private university can have as much as $100,000 in debt at their graduation. This is a debt that they live with for a lifetime, and it's a serious problem. Because of the pandemic, however, the shift toward distance learning is forcing students to really think critically about their university experience and to seek alternatives that are not going to leave them in debt. That is, if they're not already upper middle class or wealthy and can afford an expensive education. I think there is a lot of potential in this moment to reconsider the value of a name brand education and to challenge the institutions that have historically been gatekeepers for the contemporary art world and its art market. Art cannot be strictly immaterial, but education and knowledge can be increasingly immaterial. Art students can engage with philosophy or theory, art history, or contemporary visual culture and media theory without having to spend $100,000. One initiative that really excites me is called Dark Study, and you can find out more about it at darkstudy.net. It's an initiative that considers itself digitally rooted and virtual first, and it's led by Nora Khan, Caitlin Cherry, and Nicole Maloof. Collectively, they acknowledge the risk, precarity, and failures inherent to the pursuit of a creative practice today. And they seek to offer refuge for students who are dealing with the untenability of higher education and the fallout of neoliberalism. In other words, they acknowledge that art school does not guarantee a wildly successful art career to every MFA graduate. But of course, this is the hope and the promise that will compel a student to enroll and assume massive debt. I'm excited to follow the first year of their experimental program, and I'm inspired by their call to create a new educational forum that centers resource distribution through a kind of knowledge sharing that takes into account social systems and historic inequalities, and that seeks a new kind of liberation, pushing beyond academic gatekeepers and the neoliberal privatization of education.